Hello everyone, my name is Jason Smith. I'm from sunny California, living in beautiful Beijing, city of museums. I'm your American friend in China, and I wanted to talk to you about the Belt and Road Initiative, or sometimes it's called BRI. Sometimes it's called the New Modern Silk Road, but it's technically the Belt and Road Initiative. Now, there are a lot of people who in the Western media have said derogatory things. Even a very famous comedian who I like is very misinformed about what the Belt and Road is doing and how it operates. So I have been researching it for months, every day, hours and hours, and I wanted to share some general kinds of projects that are under the Belt and Road and what they're really like, so that there's no more confusion about what China's doing around the world and building energy and logistics infrastructure for the developing world. Number one, the BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, and Burundi's Ruzibazi Hydropower Plant. This is a 100 megawatt dam, which is quite big actually, and it was made with an $80 million US dollar grant from China. Grant means it doesn't need to be paid back, so there is zero interest. In fact, nothing ever needs to be paid back. It is a gift. Essentially, the Ruzibazi Hydropower Plant in Burundi was a gift from China to this particular country in Africa. Number two, the BRI and Cameroon's Renewable Hydropower Plant. It is a 211 megawatt total generating capacity. That means when it's fully active, how much it can actually produce. So more than 200 megawatts of electricity. It costs $541,566,018 US dollars to build, and it was financed by China Exim Bank, which is a premier financier for many Belt and Road Initiative projects, and many developing countries just borrow money from China Exim Bank. The interest was set at about 3.6%, which is a little high for this kind of project, but actually it's pretty low. If you want to go to World Bank or IMF, you're not going to get as good a deal. Number three, the Belt and Road Initiative and Ghana's Biohydropower Plant, another green renewable energy infrastructure project in Africa that was developed by China. It has a generating total capacity of 404 megawatts. The project added 3,000 jobs to the economy during the project while it was ongoing, providing 65 job types and transfer of skills, and provided irrigation for 960,000 farmers. It was partially funded by Exim Bank. It was a $622 million project and a concessional loan, which means about 2% interest. Number four, BRI and Kenya's Garissa Solar Power Plant Project, another renewable energy project in Africa. 400 megawatt solar farm paid for by China's Exim Bank with a loan, a concessional loan, again, 1 or 2% interest probably, $135.7 million US dollar project. Oftentimes the exact details of the interest are not divulged. Again, all four of the projects we've mentioned so far, China retains no ownership of them at all whatsoever. When the project is completed, they are handed over to that country. Kenya, Ghana, Cameroon, Burundi. They own these. China retains no ownership of any of these renewable energy projects, for which they either loaned very low interest loans that were enormous or grants. Number five, the BRI and Nigeria's Zunguru Hydropower Plant, 700 megawatts, pretty large actually. China Exim Bank loaned $956 million, with another $300 million coming from Nigeria to pay for the project. And this was a 2.5% interest project with a 7-year grace period. So again, China could easily just put this money in a 20 or 30-year treasury and make the same amount of money, or more even. But China is actually choosing to invest in these projects. So China is not making a lot of money. China is maybe making about the same interest if it just held bonds in U.S. treasuries, and there would be no worries or work or anything. Yes, some of the project used some Chinese origin materials like turbines and things from various parts of China, but they could In some projects, they buy them from Italy and other places, France. It's not up to the Chinese company to determine who's going to buy what. But still, this gives a clear outline that what is said about debt trap diplomacy and all this stuff, and about how they just hire Chinese workers to come in, this is not really true. All of these projects, 95% of the workers were African workers from the locality in which these dams were built. And just in the same way that you might go visit the Hoover Dam in the United States, these actually become tourist attractions. So you get green energy, renewable energy, which cuts off the need to import as much coal and gas. So they're able to produce their own energy more of their portfolio or their mix is made up of renewable energy that they own for a very low interest that would be very difficult to get anywhere else in the world, and China does something that IMF and World Bank doesn't. They don't interfere in the internal politics of African nations or any nations. So Indonesia takes loans from China. China doesn't say, oh, you have to change this part of your constitution, which you will get if the World Bank wants its money. They're like, they come knocking, you need to do this, 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 and this if you want to take this loan. The China's Exim Bank and other banks, other financiers like ICBC, are going to say, oh, you want to build a dam? Here you go. We'll give you some money. Let me help you out with that. We'll give you some specialists, transfer technology, hire a lot of local people, and in 5 to 10 years, you get a solar power project or a hydro dam that gives your country self-reliance. And in my opinion, a lot of this hoopla in the West about China going into the developing world and building these projects is because these Western former colonial powers are losing control of their former colonies. And I think that's a big reason why you hear a lot of complaints. I'm going to keep researching this, and I'm going to keep you informed. Please tune in for the next episode. Bye-bye.